Well, howdy, y'all. I'm Clay.
And I am Lloyd.
And this is Garbage Sharpening Garbage with the Kahler Boys.
I didn't wear my garbage bag, but I almost wish I wouldn't have voted early, because I would absolutely. I saw this; it was brilliant. I saw this on
Somebody wore a trash bag to the polls.
She said it's time to get ready to vote, and she goes over and opens up the trash bag. She cut the legs out and put it on and walked out the door. I'd have sure enough wore it, man.
I'm telling you, I'm telling you.
Garbage is here to vote for felons.
Did you?
Which you know that makes me mad.
Did you ever think that you would see Donald Trump in a high-vis vest?
No.
Was that not the greatest troll in the history of presidential politics?
Dude, that was even better than the McDonald's.
Oh, I'm telling you, man.
That was better than the McDonald's. Dude, yeah, he joined the trash force. Well, it was to go gather up all his supporters.
His supporters, that's right.
I mean, what else are you going to do if your supporters are nothing but garbage?
That's right.
Deplorable garbage at that.
You know what? Let's get into all that, but let's do the scripture of the day first.
Yeah, because we're going to talk about that.
I've got a good one.
Let's talk about that before we talk about Lion Pierre.
Yeah. All right, here we go. You ready?
I'm ready.
We're in 2 Corinthians chapter 10, and I'm starting in verse 4. It says, "For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty in God for the pulling down of strongholds. Casting down arguments and every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of God, bringing every thought into captivity to the obedience of Christ, and being ready to punish all disobedience when your obedience is fulfilled." And so Paul is writing to the church in Corinth, and it's coming off of this discussion about spiritual warfare. And he starts off and he says, "For the weapons of our warfare." Now that's interesting. It indicates something. It indicates that we're at war.
Yeah, because you don't need our warfare.
No, yeah. The sad part is, I would endeavor to say that the vast majority of believers don't know this.
I would too.
Yeah, they're certainly not living like it. I think they're on leave.
Yeah.
He says, "For our warfare are not carnal," listen to this, "but mighty in God for the pulling down of strongholds." What are strongholds? Well, you go back to the Old Testament, and there's these series of circles. You know, everything's going good. The crops are coming in. Israel's blessed. They get to chasing after foreign women, intermarry. They wind up chasing after foreign gods. They set up these high places or strongholds.
Right.
Then God allows them to be conquered by the Philistines or the Moabites or somebody. They cry out to God and repent. God sends somebody to save them. They get saved. They go back up here. Everything's plentiful. But one of the things,
there's a pattern,
and it happens over and over and over again.
Yeah.
The whole book of Judges is about this. Well, one of the things that they were required to do when they repented was tear down the strongholds, tear down these high places.
Right.
Well, the weapons that God has given us tear down these strongholds. And in the modern context, in the New Testament context, that could be your porn addiction. That could be your alcoholism. That could be your troubled marriage. It could be your financial irresponsibility. Who knows? You know.
Right.
He goes on and he says, I like this, casting down arguments. When we talked about this last night, I brought up biblical archaeology. You know, there are these secular archaeologists who focus on biblical archaeology for the whole purpose of trying to disprove Scripture.
Yes.
And every single time they inadvertently prove Scripture.
Have you seen, I think I've shared this with you before. I think I shared the link with you. This may have been even a year or more ago. It was a documentary done, and it was called Genesis Is It Evidence? Or something to that effect. And I know you can get it, stream it on TV, on different whatever streaming. But it's an in-depth look at they don't really go into a lot of archaeology, but they are heavy into the geology of our earth.
Right.
And how things are, and they do it's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Pretty interesting. Yeah. And one of the guys that actually started out doing this was he was there to poke fun.
Yeah.
And because the earth is billions and billions of years old, and there's no way that Bible can be true because there's so many things that are wrong in it. So
because we know beyond a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah. And he started out, but his whole idea was to kind of, like you said, debunk.
Yeah.
And it turns out he's saved now, and they've done another series. I haven't watched the second one, but I want to watch this next one too. But it's really, really interesting.
Well, and one of the examples I used last night, they found the ancient site of Jericho. Okay, so for those that may not know off the top of your head, the children of Israel finally went into the promised land under the leadership of Joshua and Caleb. They come to this great walled city, and the walls are impenetrable. And they're praying and asking God, how are we going to conquer this city? And God says, I want you to do something. Even if it sounds ridiculous, do it. Every day for 7 days, march around the outside wall, and when you make that full revolution, blow your trumpet. Well, day 1, they march around the outside wall, blow the trumpet. Nothing happens. Day 2, same thing. 3, 4, 5, same thing. Day 6, they march around the wall, they blow their trumpet. Nothing happens. Day 7, march around the wall, blow the trumpet, the walls fall down. All right. Archaeologists have found a vast amount of fractured and broken rock that they have identified as the wall.
Right.
And when they study it under a microscope, every single one of the rocks they found has micro fissures in it that are consistent with a sonic weapon. When they checked the bottom of the Red Sea, you know what they found? Egyptian chariots.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So it tears down every argument.
I know.
You can't argue with the Word of God.
Well, it does. There's an answer for all of life.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah. It says, casting down arguments and every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of God. That means all of these highly educated idiots, all of these PhDs that are educated well beyond their intelligence that are trying to disprove God are going to be proven wrong.
Yes.
Bringing every thought into captivity to the obedience of Christ. I like that one. You know, you look at a Christian, you look at a Christian that you would consider a mentor, somebody you look up to. They're living their lives right. You don't know their thought life.
No.
Yeah.
Well, their life behind doors.
If the church knew my thought life, they'd fire me.
Well, all of us, though.
Yeah.
All of us.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, I'll tell you what, my thought life when I'm driving in traffic is.
Yeah.
I need to be thinking that you know, Jesus is sitting right next to me,
right?
Because he can hear everything,
yeah,
and knows everything. And it's not just my thoughts; it's the thoughts that I yell out loud.
Yeah, but there's another aspect to this. If you notice, none of this is confined to the believers. You know, you've always heard this: bring every thought captivity as a command. You know, a lot of preachers preach it that way, and the principle exists, yes,
right,
but this is talking worldwide. Every thought will be brought captive to the obedience of Christ. And I immediately go to every knee will bow and every tongue will confess.
Yes.
If you've trusted in the death, burial, and resurrection of Christ for your salvation, then you will kneel in worship.
Yes.
If you haven't, you will kneel in judgment.
Boy, and those are two different things.
Very different
Both
things.
are going to kneel.
Yeah.
Both are going to kneel.
Uh-huh.
It's either you're on one end of it or the other.
I'm telling you, brother.
I don't want to be on the business end.
No, sir. He says, bringing every thought into captivity to the obedience of Christ. And listen to this. Being ready to punish all disobedience when your obedience is fulfilled. Now, we have been obedient to the gospel. We strive to be obedient to what we're called to do.
Right.
Our obedience will be fulfilled in that moment that you kneel down before the Bema seat. He places that crown on your head and says, well done, good and faithful servant.
Man.
Yeah. And that the disobedience at that point will be punished. And that's a hard truth.
Yes, it is.
Because we know people. We know people that have rejected the gospel. People that we care about.
But you know what, man? Mom also tells us that the word of God does not return void.
I agree, 100%. And I lived on that when I was witnessing to you.
I believe, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Perfect example. I believe that before it's too late, that those that have been prayed about, talked to about, been given that word, that they're going to have that eye opening experience.
They have that option.
I had that eye opening. Clay, it was literally seconds.
Yeah.
It took seconds.
Yeah, split second.
The whole day took the whole day.
Yeah.
I drove by the place. I went into the place. he ain't talking to me.
Hit the curb.
all that took a long time. But even up to the point I was fixing to leave, I wasn't saved. I was
Right.
saved, but I already went through all that process.
Yeah.
And the actual encounter
Right.
that changed my life forever took seconds.
Twinkling of an eye.
Seconds.
Yeah.
And it was, oh, well, there we go.
Yeah.
Well, there it is.
Yeah.
And
like you'd often say, you were never more happy to have been wrong.
Yes, you ain't kidding. You aren't kidding. I've been wrong 3 times.
A day.
3 times I've been wrong. Well, no, once I was wrong. Minutes. I was wrong once because I thought I was wrong,
but you were
turned
mistaken.
out I was right anyway. Yeah. And then now I was wrong about God for sure. But it took seconds. And my point is that those, I truly believe that those people that not just that have been reached and talked to and touched, especially them ones that are like, oh, him hauling around on that fence, they're gonna have that moment, dude. I wasn't on the fence,
right? You plumb across the field.
It was hooey.
Yeah.
I didn't even know where the fence was. Somebody said it was back yonder, but I didn't lose nothing at the fence. I didn't have to go to the fence.
Right.
It was hooey. I had already made my mind up. And in mere seconds.
Taking every thought captive to the obedience of Christ.
Forever.
Yeah. And your eternity changed.
And so there's I lean on that.
Yeah,
I truly lean on that.
I always say it this way: as long as there's breath in the body, there's hope for the soul.
Me and Brandy were talking about it the other day, and she was quite upset about it. And she was, she was all calling names.
Yeah.
And I said, have we not talked to them? Have you not prayed for them? Have you not done this and done that? And she's like, yeah, but they're not listening, I guess is what her point was. Yeah. And I said,
you didn't listen for years.
That's what I said. How long did I call God hooey?
Yeah.
Thumb my nose at the mere
thought of it.
Of God. And
God and Easter Bunny and Santa Claus all live in the same house.
And every once in a while, the tooth fairy would swing by for a barbecue.
Yeah.
It was all the same. And she was just looked at me. I said, mere seconds, that's all it takes.
That's right.
Mere seconds to have that encounter with God.
That's it.
And your life has changed forever. So don't give up or think that it's too late. It's never too late. It's not too late as long as we're sucking air.
I know a woman who, she wasn't as far along as you were. I mean, she didn't verbally say it was hooey, but she believed that. She was so far away from God. I mean, you couldn't get much further away from God. And I heard her testimony one time. And she was driving in traffic. It was in San Diego. And she's clipping along, doing 70 miles an hour. And this 18-wheeler whips over into her lane. And she said she doesn't remember turning the steering wheel. All she knows is a split second later, she was beside that 18-wheeler and she was still alive. And this atheistic woman said, oh, thank God. And in that moment, she came to the realization.
Wow.
it was that simple. Yeah.
Mere seconds. I heard a story a couple days ago. The guy said there was a farmer, a teacher, a preacher, and a hooker.
That's a song.
No.
Yeah, it is. It's called Three Wooden Crosses by Randy Travis. In the Bloodstained Bible?
Okay, well, yeah, but I guess
it's a song.
It's a song about somebody.
It might be.
It is. And this guy was telling the story. See, I didn't even know it was a song. He was telling the story that it was his mother that was the hooker.
Well, in the song, the preacher that's telling the story holds up the Bloodstained Bible and said, this is the Bible my mama gave to me.
And I'll tell you what, then our internet then, dude, they had me going.
And it may be a true story. I don't know. I don't know if the writer of that song was relaying a true story or not, but I know it from the song.
Okay,
good song.
Yeah. I didn't know it was a song.
And it's three wooden crosses, and the whole hook of the song is there's 3 wooden crosses on the side of the highway. Why there's not 4, heaven only knows.
Yeah.
This guy's quoting lyrics.
Yeah. And it may be true, though.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Exactly.
Now I'm going to investigate.
Yeah, no doubt.
We should talk about things before we turn the camera on. Right? So now we know this is not edited or pre-recorded.
Well, it's pre-recorded, but it's not edited.
Yeah, it's pre-recorded. Yeah. But and we also know that we don't really discuss a whole lot of things beforehand.
That's
some of the stuff we do.
We do some show prep.
some show prep, like we're both talking about garbage.
Oh yeah.
You piece of garbage.
Yeah, I'm proudly. I am a deplorable piece of garbage that clings to my Bible and my guns.
Man, you're like
Let's take it even a step further back.
Christian National.
Yeah. Well, you almost beat me to it. I'm going all the way back to when Slick Willie got caught in the Oval Office with Lewinsky, Monica Lewinsky, and Hillary Clinton came out and said it's a radical. It is a vast right-wing conspiracy by the radical Christian right.
You know what I saw the other day?
You remember that?
I do remember that. I saw a video the other day where Hillary was giving a speech, and it was around the Obama time.
Yeah.
And Obama was giving a speech similar. They were talking about the same thing. And if you would have known any better, if you'd have just heard the words, you'd have thought maybe they were conservative.
Yeah, because talking about you can't just have people willy-nilly coming across the southern border.
And the ones that are here, that came illegal, they should be vetted. And if they're not wanted, be deported immediately. Yeah. And the ones that aren't deported immediately need to be have a hefty fine. She said a hefty fine placed on them because they broke the law getting into this place. And there's a process and a line.
That's
and
right.
It's a long line. And you'll get in the end of my long line.
Oh,
and she went on and on. And she kept raising her voice and getting higher and higher.
Oh, yeah.
All about how she was going to control this border and obey. We were all going to obey the laws.
Well, remember, Slick Willie used to say that abortions need to be safe, rare, and legal.
Yeah.
I mean, you hear somebody say rare.
That's what their platform runs on right now, dude, is the ability,
wholesale slaughter of innocents.
Of innocent children, the ability to kill our children.
Yeah.
Man, if you had the puppy abortion place,
Lloyd,
that if you as a dog owner, your girl got out or the neighbor dog jumped the fence and she got knocked up and you didn't have the money to get her spayed, which you would be an irresponsible person if you didn't have that.
Right.
And now she's pregnant and you knew that you couldn't take care of them and the father across the street ain't taking responsibility.
Right.
And you took it to Lloyd's puppy abortion.
Right.
That place would be closed down the first day.
Oh, yeah. You'd be in prison for animal cruelty.
I'd be right over there with Vic, you know?
Yeah. I had it and lost it. That's all right.
And as it should be. I mean, that's, you just, I don't know.
Well, remember the mobile abortion clinic at the Democratic National Convention.
The one that they deny now.
Are they denying it?
They're denying. I've heard I've actually been told by other people on social media that that's made up. And asked me where my proof was. Then I want to send them a video.
Yeah.
They said, how do I know that's real? Well, they talked about it on the stage of the Democratic Convention.
Yeah, they were giving numbers on how many abortions have been up to that day.
And you got a T-shirt like you gave blood.
Yeah.
Like you did something heroic.
Right.
Like life-saving.
Oh, my God.
Oh, wait a minute. It was life-ending. And I can't get her. I'm sorry. I'm going to go off on a tangent. This whole thing where they just disguise it as health care.
Oh, yeah.
And women's rights. And
reproductive rights.
And
women's health care.
The whole purpose is for when somebody like you says, man, we shouldn't kill children. Well, wow, that's a crazy concept. And they go, no, you just don't like women.
Yeah.
You're against women having their own rights. Why do you hate women?
And you know what's amazing about that?
We no longer are talking about actually this child is what dies.
Right.
There's an end result.
Yeah.
Kid dies.
Every time.
We're talking about the fact that you hate women.
Which is hilarious to me.
You're not answering the question of why you hate women.
What's funny
about that
is
why do you keep dodging the hate women question?
The same people that are bringing up that point are the same people that saying that Chip, who's 6'5" and 270 pounds and got lipstick on, should be able to compete against the junior high girls.
Because they can't define a woman.
Yeah.
But you hate them. And you still ain't answered the question of why you hate women.
Right.
Wasn't your mother a woman? I mean, they just the argument is never about what it is about.
Yeah.
It's I grew up in the middle class.
Yeah.
And worked at Mr. Burger.
We need to do some trash talk.
And I sold Rex and fries.
Let's do some trash talk.
Oh, okay.
So
that'll be a new segment on our podcast.
Yeah, trash talk. There you go. That's right. Here on Garbage Sharpening Garbage.
If they cancel our channel, that's going to be the new
trash talk with the Kahler Boys. No
Garbage Sharpening Garbage.
So in Madison Square Garden, the Nazi rally that took place last week at Madison Square Garden. Isn't that just funny?
You know, I think it might have been. They might have been right about that.
Really?
Well, man, they had a Holocaust survivor.
Yeah,
he would be
piles and piles of Jews with Israeli flags.
They would all be welcome at the Nazi rally,
and they were singing Jewish songs.
Well, that's welcome with the Nazis.
Yeah,
too.
yeah,
all that's welcome.
Yeah,
and they had all the diverse people up there, and they were singing the national anthem.
Right.
Somebody said it was the most beautiful rendition of the national anthem they had ever heard.
Yeah, but the national anthem is triggering to some people, along with the American flag.
That's because it's Nazis.
Yeah.
They're Nazis. They're daggum Nazis.
So at this Nazi rally, they brought in this comedian who's known as a roasting comedian. Remember Don Nichols?
Mm-hmm.
He was like that.
Yeah.
He's an insult comic. As a matter of fact, they showed where he did a roast of I think Tom Brady, and Gronk was there.
Oh yeah, Gronk is hilarious.
And he looked at Gronk and he says, "You look like the Nazi that keeps burning himself on the ovens." I mean, that's the kind of stuff this guy does.
And if you're not triggered, I don't know.
Yeah,
I find that stuff funny.
Yeah, it's dark humor.
It hilarious. It is. There's some darkness to it, and I find it hilarious.
And I'm going to say that there was a serious mistake made. I don't know whose idea it was to book an insult comic for this political rally. That was not a good move.
Spot.
But the joke was, he said, there's a floating pile of trash in the ocean. It's called Puerto Rico.
Right.
That was the joke.
Yeah.
And or garbage. He said garbage. That's important. He said there's a floating pile of garbage in the ocean, which, by the way, there is.
Oh, yeah.
And he said, and it's called Puerto Rico. And that was the joke. Not really that funny. Not really that offensive, I guess, but not really that funny.
I didn't find it funny.
No.
And I kind of laugh at stuff like that. And I didn't find that particular line
So that was the joke.
Yeah.
Well, the aftermath of that joke is all of these MSDNC, MSLSD, Clinton News Network pundits saying...
Clinton News Network. Yeah, buddy. Did you hear the rumor that Elon Musk might buy CNN?
That would be brilliant. No, I did not, but my God, I'll tell you, that just made me giggle.
Man, my heart swelled up. I felt like a drink for a minute. My heart went boom, boom, boom.
Change that up. It would be XNN then.
I think that would be awesome.
These pundits all come out the next day. Donald Trump said that Puerto Ricans are garbage.
All Puerto Ricans
Number one, Donald Trump didn't say a doggone thing. It was a stupid comedian. Number two, he didn't say Puerto Ricans were garbage. He said Puerto Rico, the island of Puerto Rico is garbage. And I've heard the backstory behind this. Joe Rogan knows this comic personally. They're friends.
Yeah.
And he said that this comic is he's obsessed about the floating garbage pile in the ocean. Because he's sensitive towards the environmental stuff. And Puerto Rico, being an island, produces so much garbage that their landfills are like double over capacity.
Right.
And that's the joke.
Yes.
Okay. So anyway,
I'm not being rude. I'm checking on my bride.
That's all right. So then, the very next day, this is hilarious too.
That was loud.
Yeah. The very next day, and this is hilarious too. Kamala Harris or Kamala Harris.
I was trying to think of that the other day, and I was laughing at myself sitting in the truck by myself.
Trying to remember Spanish that you never learned?
Yeah, and I'm trying to think of that the other day. What did he say?
So Kamala Harris was doing a speech. By the way, interestingly enough, at the very spot that Donald Trump gave his speech on January 6th, that they claimed incited the insurrection. And at the same time she's giving her speech, Sleepy Creepy Joe is doing a Zoom meeting with a bunch of Latinos, Voto Latino or whatever it is. And in his speech, he says something about Donald Trump calling Puerto Ricans garbage. And he says, all the Puerto Ricans I know in Delaware are fine, upstanding people. The only garbage I see are his supporters.
Yes. And then Lion Pierre said,
yeah,
he didn't say that.
Right? There was an apostrophe. That's what they're saying. Supporter, apostrophe S. And what they're claiming now is he was talking about the comedian's garbage.
Oh, Lord.
That's how they're trying to get out of this, Lloyd.
They're trying to, man.
Now, having said all that, let's talk about the single greatest troll in the history of politics.
God, I should have worn my vest.
You know what? Yeah, I've got one out in the truck. No doubt. We should have been wearing those. That would have been great.
Wore my high vis vest.
So,
golly.
Here's the
swung by and borrowed a McDonald's hat.
Oh, no doubt. So, you know, we all laughed and enjoyed the whole McDonald's stick. That was cool.
That was pretty good.
And thought, you know, that's a good way to close out the campaign. You can't get any better than that. We underestimated the former president.
We stand corrected.
He shows up at a news conference in a high-vis vest and gets into a garbage trunk with the "Make America Great" sign on the side of it and takes questions from inside the garbage truck. Just absolutely phenomenal, man.
Brilliant, man.
Yeah.
He's
playing 4D chess against somebody that's playing checkers.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. You see where they at the end of the San Francisco game, they're interviewing.
And he had
no. They were interviewing the quarterback.
Yeah,
and his buddy runs up with the "Make America Great" hat, and they cut it.
Yeah,
they cut it out, but they didn't. They're so inconsistent, and so I don't know the word I'm looking for. Their ability to actually do the job they're trying to do.
Yeah, it's
so just inept.
Yeah.
Inept at their job. I guess that's the word.
Yeah.
But they didn't edit it off all media. They let it go out.
Just their channel.
Well, just on the locals.
Right.
And where it went out to like where people were going to sit in front of their TV and watch.
Right.
But people on X saw it, then they took it down.
Yeah.
And then saw the actual interview where
right.
the guy it wasn't edited.
Right.
And people on YouTube saw it.
Right.
And then they tried to take it down, but it was shared too many times.
Right.
And it was just like why?
Which, by the way, can I just throw in a little caveat here that has nothing to do with anything? This is evidence as to why you need to be careful what you post online.
Yeah,
because it's there. It's you post it, it's there.
It's forever. Thank God these weren't.
Oh, I know it, Lloyd.
When we were children, can you imagine if they'd have been?
We would still be in juvenile hall
if they'd 70s or 80s. If we'd have had these in the 70s or 80s.
I told I told Mom about the bulldozer.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I did.
I was taking that one to the grave.
And I told her. Oh man.
I'm going to talk about something unrelated to anything.
All right, come on with it.
There's a chicken.
Yes.
And his name is Miracle Mike.
Miracle Mike.
And I had to look into this.
Yeah.
This is actually true.
Okay.
This is a true story. Miracle Mike unfortunately lost his head. Yeah, that's what I said. His head.
Okay.
His head was cut off of his body.
That's
separated from his body.
Okay.
He lived for 18 months after his head was removed. This is documented, dude. Documented.
Hang on. Let me roll up my pant legs because it's getting deep in here.
I thought there's no way. I looked into it. I couldn't find anything that debunked this story at all. They fed him through his throat hole, and he lived for 18 months. I thought it said 18 hours at first, and then when I first wrote it down, I put 18 hours. And then I went back because I was still trying to find stuff that called this fake.
Yeah.
Because I wrote it down when I first saw it. I said, that's pretty funny. I'm going to say that in the podcast. I thought, man, there's no way. Let me find out why this lie is being told.
Yeah.
There's got to be a funny story.
Got to be a punchline
behind this. There's got to be. The farmer lied to the little girl.
Right.
And it was her favorite chicken.
Right.
And he's like, oh, no, Mike is fine. It's the way he always smells. I don't know. And so then after further examination of this, I found that it wasn't 18 hours, which would have been pretty extraordinary. It was 18 months. 18 months, this chicken.
Do you see the skepticism on my face?
I see the skepticism on my face. And if I wouldn't have read no less than 6 different articles that back this up, and not any that said no, Miracle Mike was bull.
All right, so
there's too many questions.
Yeah,
the brain function to everything. How in the world does your body?
The brain tells the heart when to pump.
It tells everything.
Yeah,
everything. It tells the eyes when to blink.
But having said that,
you don't have eyes no more.
We've seen chickens killed. You cut their head off and they run around the yard for about 10 minutes.
Well, this one here ran around the yard at 8 for supposedly 18 months.
I don't know, man. You know what it reminds me of? A story that old Codger told. So he was driving through the country, and he passed this farm, and he saw a hog with a wooden leg. Have you ever heard this?
No, I have not.
And he couldn't help himself, and he had to stop. And so he goes, the farmer's out there mending fence, and he goes out and he strikes up a conversation with his farmer, and he says, let me ask you a question about that hog. He says, oh, man, yeah, that hog's a special hog. He says, really? He says, yeah. He says, you know, back 10 years ago, my house caught on fire, and we all got out except for my daughter, Susie. And she was upstairs, and we couldn't get to her. The flames were too high. And that hog ran through those flames, up the stairs, and dragged my daughter out of that burning house and saved her life. That's amazing. He says, and then about 4 years ago, my nephew Timmy was down there at the stock tank swimming. Well, he can't swim, and he started drowning. And that hog dived into that tank, drugged that boy out, and saved his life. He said, that's amazing. He says, it is. And you know what? When you got a hog that special, you only eat him one ham at a time. Old Jerry Clower.
I don't know what they saved that old chicken for, but
I don't know, man.
That's just a wild story.
But you know,
let me tell you another story.
All right.
Did you know that when Al Gore was born,
oh gosh,
there were 130,000 registered known
polar bears?
Glaciers.
Oh, glaciers. Okay. Polar bears.
Do you know now there's only 130,000 left?
Really?
Yep.
Really? So, man, that's devastating. So not one glacier has been lost to global warming.
And if you look, you look at like the shorelines.
Yeah.
When Al Gore was born, they're exactly the same as they are now.
Wow.
I know.
It's amazing. It's amazing. But we've only got 12 years left, and that was 5 years ago.
It's tricky how this global warming
Yeah,
works.
I'm telling you.
You can't really see evidence of it.
Did I ever tell you that I figured out that Al Gore and Forrest Gump are the same person?
No.
I may not be a smart man, but the polar bears are dying.
You know, I've seen pictures of New York.
Yeah.
You know, Lady Liberty.
Yeah.
And
the water level.
And this is like when migrants were coming.
Yeah, back in the 30s.
No, before then, way before.
Yeah.
You know, earliest pictures.
Right.
And then you look at the ones today.
Yeah.
And it's within an inch or two.
Yeah.
Right there on the same edge.
Right.
Unless the earth is rising with the water.
How dare you?
Hey.
You've stolen my childhood.
That might be it.
Yeah.
There really are. It's global warming. The oceans are rising.
And so is the land.
And the land's rising with it.
There you go. It's floating. That guy that was afraid of Guam tipping over was right after all. It is floating on the surface.
You know, that might be.
We're brilliant. We are absolute geniuses, y'all.
We are. You know what, man? That might be
that's funny.
The dumbest thing I've ever heard come out of Washington.
Oh.
Is Guam going to tip over?
Okay.
Give me another.
I'm not going to say dumbest.
Well, then give me a compare.
We have to pass the bill before we can find out what's in the bill.
Well, that's right next door.
Yeah,
and I mean their neighbors.
That is.
Their neighbors.
Yeah. I have held an AR-15, and it was as heavy as 10 moving boxes.
No, that's not as dumb. That's not as dumb. Because that might be true.
Yeah, if you're moving boxes, if you're moving stuff in tissue boxes.
She didn't say they were full.
That's true.
And she didn't say how big the boxes were.
But Joe Biden did say that a 9mm will blow the lung out of a human being.
Plumb out. Yeah, that was kind of stupid.
It's hard to say what's the, here's a comparison. People will come up to me and say, Pastor, what's your favorite Bible verse? I can't give you one. I love this thing from the table of contents, the concordance.
Right.
There's 1,000 verses in here that are my favorite. So to say the dumbest thing to ever come out of Hollywood, or out of Hollywood or DC,
right,
would be about the same. Yeah. Yeah, stupidity reigns wild in DC. I mean, that's and it's
Thick.
and it's contagious. It's contagious.
Oh,
Dumber than a box of rocks, to quote Lee T.
is there any oxygen on your planet?
Oh, I'm telling you, man. We are, let's see, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, 5 days
5
away.
days away.
5 days away. And check this out. So, Maricopa County has already said that it's probably going to be 2 or maybe 3 weeks before they have their results.
I just think that's so ridiculous.
It is, because the state of Florida will have their results that night.
Yeah. And so how can the whole state do it, but a county can't?
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, we talked about this before the podcast, about them shutting the polls down early in Florida, or not
Butte
Florida,
County, Pennsylvania.
There was another county where they bust a bunch of migrants in, and it's on video. I had the video saved.
Yeah.
They removed it from me.
Imagine that.
Yeah, it's stricken from the internet. I'm sure if you were
a sleuth,
you could find it. But they put them. These people had been waiting in line for over 2 hours to vote, like good American patriots. Which the word patriot is becoming a cuss word. And here comes these buses that pull up, and the guy said, none of these people speak any English. Which, you know what, man? That's not a horrible thing. I know American citizens that don't speak good English.
Right.
I know them personally.
Yeah.
And they're tricky to communicate with. And, and if I didn't know them personally, I wouldn't take the time to actually communicate. You know what I mean? But they struggle with the English language.
Right.
It's a tough language.
I know natural-born Americans that struggle with the English language.
Man, we could talk about that. Have you seen that German guy that does the whole comic bit on the English language? How he's a little bit racy in his language.
Yeah.
You know, he cusses too much.
Right.
But he talks about how there's PH makes the F sound here.
Yeah.
And it doesn't over here. And it does. And he says, and we're not even going to talk about the word pterodactyl. He said, y'all make this way harder than it's supposed to be.
Right.
He said, you got letters that are double teaming and doing extra stuff when you got a perfectly good letter later down in the same word.
That's silent. Yeah.
It's silent. He said, so yeah, American language stuff, it is. But these people were not American citizens.
Yeah.
And they were pushed to the front of the line. There's another video out.
It's amazing.
That I can't find
in broad daylight.
In broad daylight that I can't find anymore, where they're registering these people to vote. And the guy said, well, he don't have any idea. She's like, register him anyway. And another guy is filming it with maybe something like this.
Yeah.
And
wow.
Yeah, just
that's what we need. Virginia. Yeah.
Virginia.
Glenn Youngkin, the governor of Virginia, he initiated Virginia state law, and Virginia state law requires that non-citizens that accidentally wind up on the voter registration be purged before an election.
Accidentally break the law.
Well, and there's an explanation.
Okay, well, please enlighten me.
All right.
I'm ready to learn something.
So, certain immigrants, they call them, illegal aliens, certain illegal aliens in Virginia can apply for and get a driver's license. Well, in Virginia, when you apply for a driver's license, you're automatically registered to vote.
Okay.
And so these were self-identified
right.
non-citizens.
Yes.
Lloyd, you come to the DMV, you apply for a driver's license, and you say, by the way, I'm from Guatemala. Yeah. I'm not an American citizen.
Right.
And now you're registered to vote.
Right. And he was pulling those people off the register.
Well, the Secretary of State was under his direction. And the DOJ, the Department of Justice, the Federal Department of Justice.
Wait a minute. What is their primary job?
Law enforcement.
Which is what
enforcing the laws that are on the books.
There you go. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Just clarify that.
Just making sure I know what's going on.
The DOJ sued the state of Virginia in federal court and won, and said all those names need to be put back on the voter rolls. Here was their justification. There's a cool down period before an election. 90 days before an election, you're not supposed to do anything with the voter rolls. Now, that's not law, that's tradition. The Supreme Court came out this past
wait,
week.
wait a minute. So the Department of Justice sues Virginia
Yeah.
for enforcing laws.
Enforcing Virginia state law.
The Department of Justice, their primary job is to enforce laws.
Yeah.
Sues a state
for enforcing the law.
My head's going to blow up. How does that? I don't know how you. Here's the big question.
Keep in mind, this is the same DOJ that is trying to put Donald Trump in prison, that put Bannon and all these others in prison.
Here's my question. How does that even make it to a courtroom?
Because the courtrooms are in on it, man.
I mean,
the federal courts are in on it.
If I was the judge, I don't have a degree in anything except life. And you come to me and you said, "Okay, judge, we're going to sue these people over here." I'd be saying, "All right, well, lay it out. What you got?" Well, we'll say Mr. Clay is going to sue the guy across the street because the guy across the street ran into his truck and he didn't want to pay for it. You're like, really? We have evidence of that. Yep, we got a video, we got pictures, and we got a police report. Well, let's bring that to court.
Yeah.
Hey, you got something to stand on.
There's a case.
You got something to stand on. And if you showed up and said, "Hey, Mr. Judge, we want to sue this state because we're the Department of Justice and our job is to enforce laws. We want to sue this state because they're enforcing their laws," I'd laugh at you.
Right.
I'd send you down the road. Dude, you don't think we got better things to do than your silliness?
Right.
That's silliness.
Yeah.
You're telling me you want to sue somebody for doing your job.
Yeah.
No. Go away. Let's deal with real. I can't imagine how that made it into a courtroom.
So here's the problem. You are right now, you're dealing with a disconnect. You are trying to apply common sense to the federal government.
Boy.
Never should the twain meet.
That's what the Democrats are really scared of, because you look at this team that Mr. President Trump has put together.
Oh man, dude,
he is going after every part of the government, and I am just appalled that every American is not standing up going, "Thank you."
All right,
it's the government. He's not going after Mr. This guy.
No.
He's going after these wasted government positions that are taking your money and my money and spending it on researching the bad effects of cocaine on monkeys.
Let's take it a step further. There are thousands, if not more, federal employees that are making 100 plus a year, 100K plus a year, 6 figures, that have redundant jobs or have jobs that no longer have any validity, that sit in cubicles all day long playing Pokemon
and do nothing.
And that's it.
That's it. And we're paying for it. And there's no oversight for it. And he's going to introduce that kind of oversight. Let's
do a real quick roll call. All right, you ready for this? Donald John Trump, candidate, Republican candidate for president, former Democrat. Tulsi Gabbard, former Democrat senator, former Democrat candidate for the president of the United States.
Yes.
Elon Musk, former Democrat.
Yes.
Robert F. Kennedy, former Democrat.
You can't even call him a former Democrat. He is the face of Democrat.
Yeah, he is from the family that is the Democrat Party. But here's the thing. You look at his family, you look at his dad, you look at his uncle, John. If they were in politics today, they'd be considered conservative.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Bill Maher said, "I didn't leave the Democrat Party, they left me."
Yeah, I watched him the other day, and he said, "I haven't," and you know who else said this? Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
He said, "I haven't moved."
I
haven't moved politically.
Oh, speaking of Joe Rogan.
His
Donald Trump.
3 hours, dude.
And then J.D. Vance just did 4 hours with him.
And he invited
Kamala.
He did. He invited.
Kamala.
They actually reached out to him.
Yeah.
He didn't reach out.
And then said, "No, never mind."
And there were so many rules. They wanted him to travel to them. They only wanted to do a certain small time frame. They wanted 42 different people in the room with them. They had so many
stipulations.
He said, "Just come talk."
Yeah, just have a conversation. Yeah.
He said, "I have voted," and that's what he said. That they're so worried. The guy he was talking to said, Well, do you think it's because they think you're on Trump's side? And he said, that's the thing. He said, I've always voted Democrat.
Yeah.
He said, I have been.
But.
Yeah. Oh, he won't this time.
Yeah.
He said, I have been on the left my whole life. He said, I was a Bernie Sanders supporter.
Yeah, he was a huge Bernie Sanders supporter.
He said, I was a huge Bernie Sanders supporter. He said, I love the guy. I thought he had the answers to everything. He said, in my party, left me. He said, I never left.
Right.
I stand in the same spot.
Yep.
He said, and now all of a sudden I'm classified as right-wing extremist.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
but then you got the Terminator coming out yesterday. Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh.
He is supporting Kamala. Former Republican governor of California.
Well.
Supporting Kamala Harris.
You know who else is supporting Kamala?
He's 111 years old. It's probably senility.
Dude, I'll tell you what senility is. When they rolled out Jimmy Carter to vote, did you see that? Did you see that? Was sad.
That was elder abuse. That was awful.
That was sad. Yeah, that was.
It's funny. Let's compare the dream teams. All right, you ready for this? Donald Trump with RFK, Tulsi Gabbard, Elon Musk. Pretty good team.
And his vice president.
Oh, J.D. Vance is just a bad dude. He's a bad man.
I'm glad he's on my side.
Oh, yeah. And what's funny is he will beat the absolute crap out of a journalist with a smile on his face.
Dude,
just kindly, very, very.
Did you see where they questioned his loyalty to America? Or
I did not.
Yeah.
Oh, that didn't go over well.
That didn't go well at all.
That didn't go well.
I want to know what position they stand on questioning my loyalty.
Yeah.
I went to Iraq. I fought for this country.
Yeah.
While they were doing what?
Yeah, exactly. So you got that dream team. Then you got the other dream team. You got Kamala Harris, Tim Walz,
Timmy,
Liz Cheney.
Yeah.
Oh, Brokeback Liz.
Warmonger.
Dick Cheney.
Warmonger.
Yeah.
Wants that war machine going.
That's just amazing to me.
You know who else supports him? Supports Kamala Harris? All these celebrities.
Oh, yeah.
And singers.
Oh, yeah.
And sports stars.
Yeah.
You know what else they got in common?
Diddy.
Either Epstein or Diddy.
Yeah.
They all have this in common.
Yeah.
And one of the things that Trump has said is he becomes president, that list, he said, that's ridiculous. I can't get over how nothing's been prosecuted. Mm-hmm. What happened to the Me Too movement and all that movement?
Believe all women.
Protect children at all costs. Which they don't do that.
No.
Close abortion clinics. But anyway, if somebody is convicted for crimes against children,
mm-hmm.
well, then there's victims.
Yeah.
And if they're convicted of child trafficking,
then there are other perpetrators.
It has to be.
Yeah.
Or you're
by necessity.
Or it's just child kidnapping.
Yeah.
If I just had 42 children locked in the basement.
Ghislaine Maxwell is sitting in a federal prison right now, convicted of child trafficking.
And there's no other defendants. And there's no prosecution.
And the interesting thing about this, Lloyd, is all of the names that were floated, we're not hearing anything anymore.
At all. And then all of a sudden Diddy gets arrested.
Did you see all these celebrities that have left the country after Diddy got arrested?
Yeah, I did.
And Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart had a chain of restaurants called Hart something. They were vegan restaurants. They were really popular. He's closed them all down.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you got to have some cash on hand, man, if you got to jump and run to a non-extraditable country. He's going to be roommates with Snowden somewhere.
It just kind of seems just odd to me how the supporters are all of one type.
Tied together.
Yeah, so tied together. Just, and that's that conspiracy, that right-wing conspiracy. Where
are the 35 million children that they can't find from the southern border?
Dude.
We had the whole podcast on it. Where are the kids?
And they still can't find them.
No.
They still can't. There's been a documented 325,000 kids that were handed over, documented.
Yeah.
We don't know about undocumented,
Right.
the ones that came in the middle of the night.
Right. The gotaways.
The millions of gotaways. 325,000 documented children that were given to people on
relatives.
Supposedly relatives.
Yeah.
Why did they get rid of the rapid DNA test?
Yeah.
There was something in
Right,
place.
yeah.
Trump had something
Yeah.
in place for that. If you came over and claimed, yeah, this is my daughter, they did a rapid DNA test.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't your daughter, they didn't let you leave with her.
Right. Now they don't.
They eliminated that.
Yeah.
Why?
It's a good question.
Why did they want them illegals on the voter rolls? And why did the judge sit up there and say, nope, that's legal, can't do it, let them do it, let them
Right.
put them back? Why?
Good thing the Supreme stepped in.
Oh, God. I mean, but why? Why would you want that?
Right.
Why would you have to lie about everything? Why would you have to lie about your military service when you served a good service?
Yeah.
You did nothing wrong.
Yeah.
Nothing. That's unblemished.
You attained the rank of Master Sergeant. Do you know how few people attain the rank of Master Sergeant?
You know how many have joined and didn't get that rank?
Yeah.
Most of them.
Yeah.
Most of them. That's an amazing service record.
And
I'm proud of him for his service record.
Yeah, he had exemplary service.
He
filled the role of a command sergeant major.
And so
he was frocked.
And so
that's impressive.
Why lie about it then?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. He served in support of the global war on terrorism from Italy.
Why lie about this 2025 thing?
No, I know it. I know it.
Repeatedly. When it's been debunked so many times.
And they're still doing it. That's the funny thing about it.
They got commercials.
The Heritage Foundation, which was the organization that came up with it.
Yeah.
The Heritage Foundation doesn't support Harris.
Okay.
The Heritage Foundation is a conservative think tank.
Okay.
And they're the ones that came up with Project 2025. Well, one of the people with the Heritage Foundation, who, by the way, has since been fired. You know.
There you go.
So, I mean, it's debunked. It's absolutely debunked.
I hope they change that law.
Yeah. You're thinking of Lincoln Project. The Lincoln Project are conservatives that support Democrat policies.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But I hope that this law about where we can just lie.
Oh.
I think, in my opinion, you fix the government, and if there's a few things you need to do. One is term limits.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 100%.
The second
100%.
one is you take all these incentives away. You're not allowed to make outside money.
Right.
At all.
Right.
At all. You're not going to invest in the stocks that you're voting on the outcome.
Right.
If Pete Rose can't gamble on a game.
You're right. Can't be in the Hall of Fame because of it.
And he didn't even gamble on the game he was involved in. But if you can't gamble on a game because he plays baseball, then you can't be in the stock markets when you're making decisions.
Agreed.
Term limits, no stock deals, and if you lie, you're immediately fired.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Yeah.
That's it. You're done. If you lie to the public, you're fired.
You would completely gut the federal government if that was the case.
You're right.
I know.
Where else? I can't lie to my employer.
No, she would not tolerate that.
Not at all.
And understandably so.
Well, sure.
Yeah.
If she can't trust me, she can't.
Because you're in a position that requires trust.
If you're in any position that gets paid.
True enough.
If I'm paying you, not the job, no matter what I did, if I clipped her yard.
Yeah, I was going to say, I might be your lawn guy.
And I was a liar. She can't have me around, and she wouldn't put up with it either.
Right. Absolutely.
Neither would you.
Yeah.
But our taxpayer recipients, they can lie without any account. We've talked about this on the podcast before. All of them. And you should never group any people, and I said it like this in that one podcast, you shouldn't group any people together. You shouldn't say, all people that support Trump are trash. You shouldn't say
garbage,
that.
Yeah.
You shouldn't say that. You shouldn't group everybody together. All people that drive pickups are rednecks. Shouldn't say that. It's not true.
Right.
But all people that get paid by taxpayer dollars are allowed, that's the key word, allowed to lie without accountability. They don't all do it. Right. But they're allowed. If they did it, there'd be no accountability.
Yeah.
Zero.
Yeah.
No matter what position you're in, if you're paid from the guy on the Republican gathering truck, the garbage truck.
Yeah.
from him all the way up to the mayor and the president and the senators and all the rest of them, they can all lie.
Yeah.
If you go up to the water department right now and you ask them any question and she lied to you,
There's nothing you can do about it.
zero.
Yeah.
If you came back a week and said, you lied to it, I'm sorry. That's the end of it.
Yeah.
Which it probably, if somebody at the water probably wasn't that big a lie or maybe a mistake, but my point is,
Right.
all of them can lie.
Yeah.
And have zero accountability. And you can't do that in a secular job anywhere, in a real world job anywhere. If you lie, you get fired. If you lie repeatedly, it's hard for you to find another job later down the line.
These lies are still being repeated, and they've all been debunked. Very fine people on both sides.
Charleston.
Yeah. Suckers and losers.
Yes.
All of these lies that are constant.
In my opinion,
the sitting president, the current occupant of the White House, I say that he's not really even occupying the White House. He's in Delaware most of the time.
Yeah.
Pampers,
the one that's getting paid.
Yeah, the guy in the Pampers.
Yeah, the guy that we're paying with our tax dollars that does nothing but lie.
Yeah. Constantly repeating these same lies. He claimed the whole reason he got into the presidential race in the beginning was because of the suckers and losers comment. Yeah, I just can't stand the idea of a man running for president who would call our military men who died on the battlefield suckers and losers.
Our military man that he abandoned, that he just absolutely don't care about.
No.
Our military man.
How about those 13 that were killed in Afghanistan?
And all he could do was check his watch.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't want to hear it. But it's that's the part that just gets me, is the lying part.
Right.
If you were held to a different standard, as a elected official,
and there's no trust in our government now, and that's why. That's exactly why.
No matter what you say, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
it just doesn't matter. And when you say all Republicans or supporters of Donald Trump are garbage, and people say, I can't believe he said that, then you have somebody else sitting over there going, he didn't say that.
Yeah.
That's not true.
No, that's
not
fake
true
news. Fake news.
One thing else I want to talk about.
All right.
We touched on this a podcast or two ago, but it's come back up again, and I keep seeing it on more social media. And boy, I didn't ever think. Well, a few years ago, you said, hey, there's a new app out.
Yeah.
It's called TikTok. And I'm like, what is a TikTok?
Yeah.
And he's like, you're talking to me like you was almost a youngster, and I was this old out of touch dinosaur. And you said, it's not a TikTok.
You are an old out of touch dinosaur.
No, I'm not. But anyway, you said
you're a great grandfather.
It's not a TikTok. It's TikTok. I'm like, okay, well, what is it? He said, oh, you just make funny videos, and you was telling me about it. And I said, I'm not downloading that ridiculous stuff. I get my news from it.
Yeah.
I watch congressional hearings. Congress has passed authorization to use lethal force on American citizens
by the United States military.
By the United States military.
In the event of an uprising.
In the event of a political uprising.
Yes.
It said political. Here's what that means, man. If you protest because you don't agree with what the government's doing, they're allowed to shoot you now.
Yeah.
They're allowed to.
In violation of the Posse Comitatus Act.
They're allowed to deploy American troops to go shoot American people on American soil because they disagree with the government.
And here's the thing. We want to say that we can't imagine that happening. But it did happen in Kent State, Ohio.
It sure did.
During the Vietnam
and we want to say, well, we have a constitution, but we've already got these same politicians saying that a First Amendment it's not absolute.
Right.
It's a hindrance.
It doesn't protect hate speech or misinformation.
And it's a hindrance to govern the people. It's what did Kamala Harris say that Facebook should be held? Yeah. Facebook's held to one standard, and X should be held to the same standard.
Right.
And
if you promulgate misinformation, you will be held accountable.
Yes. So then you got to ask, who gets to decide? That's it. Yeah. Who gets to decide?
Well, whoever's in power.
Well, let's just say, hate speech is punishable by a year in jail.
Yeah.
And you say, which you would never say this, because I know you well, but we'll just say it. Well, you say, I'm one in charge, though. I get to determine what's hate speech. And you say, man, them Cowboys played good last Sunday. And I say, that offends me, and I call that hate speech.
Lloyd.
And you laugh about that. And it is funny, and I said that to be funny. But that's what it's going to boil down to, is opinion.
I have stood in the pulpit and said, if Bruce Jenner gets his junk cut off, it doesn't make him a woman, it makes him an amputee.
Right. But it's an opinion is what it's going to boil down to, is whose opinion. What you said about the Cowboys may have offended me, and I thought that's hateful because I don't root for them. And so now I'm going to charge you with a crime.
Well, let's get more realistic with it.
Boil down to my
opinion.
Have
already said that misgendering a trans person or using their dead name is hate speech.
Absolutely, and that's just ridiculous.
So if there's some dude standing in front of me wearing a tutu and lipstick with a full beard,
and you say, "Excuse me, sir,"
that's hate speech. Are you kidding me?
No. Coming to a communist-run town near you in England, I know that you see things in England, you think, well, that's over
awful.
there. But then all of a sudden you see them reflecting over here.
Yeah, especially it starts in California.
Was a woman arrested last week. And this is the second time she's been arrested at the same spot for doing the same thing.
Silent prayer. I saw that.
Second time for doing the same thing.
It's amazing.
She was saying a silent prayer across the street from an abortion clinic and got thrown in jail for
violating the protective zone.
Yep.
Yeah. You're not allowed to exercise religious freedom within the protective zone of an abortion clinic.
So now they're going to control thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
Thoughts.
Yeah.
Now you have, are you kidding?
Yeah.
And that's accepted there. These are accepted practices. She went to jail.
Yeah.
She
has a criminal record.
There wasn't a big protest for her and everybody hollering, are you kidding? This is ridiculous. She was thinking a prayer.
Yeah.
She was, which I
quiet.
Think the whole
silent.
Yeah, I mean, it's England, but anyway, they ought to be able to protest. They're killing kids.
Yeah.
But anyway, she was thinking a prayer.
Yep.
And she got arrested. Not once, but twice.
Yeah.
She's an habitual.
That's right. Offender. That's right.
Twice.
It's amazing.
For thinking a prayer.
Ridiculous.
Hey, never speak to the police. If she told them she was thinking a prayer.
Yeah.
If she wouldn't have told them that, they'd never known it.
You're right.
Just never talked to them. I don't know.
Yeah, they were questioning her. So what are you doing over here? And she said, well, I might be silently praying.
Yeah.
And they arrested her.
What position in the moral world do you hold if you're the cop that actually puts the handcuffs on her and takes her to jail? I'm just doing my job.
No,
don't float, man.
No. You're an adherent to that.
You're agreeing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go flip burgers at McDonald's. I'm quitting my 25-year police job, whatever it is.
Right.
I'm not going to be a participant to this.
Exactly.
This is ridiculous. It's too far. I've drawn the line. I'm not doing it.
Give us your tagline, old man.
Is it time already?
It really is. It really is.
I seen you glancing up there a few times.
Yep. I got to keep track, man. Otherwise,
we get carried on.
Here's the thing. I think our last video, we had 16 views. We start putting up 2.5-hour videos. That's going to be decreased quite a bit. Wow. Speaking of which, hit the buttons, man. Clickety clack, as my brother Lloyd likes to say. Yeah. Like, comment, subscribe, share. I'm wearing my Trump hat today instead of my Calvary hat because it is the last podcast before November 5th. Listen, y'all, I saw or heard a thing on the radio, and it disturbs me. And I think I got these numbers right. It's in the ballpark. 33% of Christians are not voting this year.
I heard that too.
And like 27% of NRA members, gun owners, are not participating. And I don't understand that.
I don't either.
If you're a Christian, if you're a gun owner, your voice needs to be heard. So if you're watching this podcast and you didn't take advantage of the early voting, November 5th, you need to already go on and put in for a day off at work.
There's still going to be some opportunities for early voting.
I think up until the 1st.
There's a few days
so today and tomorrow maybe, or today. Today may be the end of it. But Listen, y'all, vote. Please.
Vote. Get out and vote. Check your ballots before you finish the voting. You'll fill them out. They'll print them. Check them. And please vote, man. Please vote.
Well, I'll tell you what. I will say this before your tagline. Based off of the early indications of early voting, man, we are so far ahead.
And
but
we were really far ahead
in 2020.
In 2020,
yeah, and then there was a water leak.
3:25 a.m. That line went straight up.
Yep, it's amazing.
Amazing. Old ballot stuffer got thrown in jail, but there was no voter fraud.
No, not a bit of it.
But she got convicted of it.
Yeah,
several of them did.
Yeah.
But there was no voter fraud.
Nope.
How you get convicted of a crime when there's no crime? If there was no crime, I mean, any first-year attorney would have said, "Wait a minute."
That sounds like a Dr. Seuss riddle.
Say, wait a minute. How can you convict my client of voter fraud
when there was no fraud?
When y'all are saying all across the news and everywhere that there was no voter fraud.
That's right.
How is this possible? But yet they're still doing time. You can't have it both ways.
Give us a tagline on that.
All right. Anyway, take time. Take time to be kind. Doesn't take any time at all.
That's right.
It's not hard. Doesn't cost you any money.
Nope.
The littlest of things. Just take time.
Absolutely. Folks, we love you guys. By the way, you notice that we're not in our new studio. That's because it is under renovation. That's the way I'm going to put it. But here in the near future, we will be in our upgraded, new, and improved studio. Until then, we're going to make nondescript. Yeah, we are in a hidden bunker beneath the brick and steel of a nondescript building.
We had to start renovations because the Canaries were not making it.
God bless you guys. Lord willing, we'll see you next Thursday. And who knows? We might know who the next president is by the time we do our next podcast on Thursday. I doubt it, but maybe.
Maybe. We'll see.
We'll see y'all. God bless you.